Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. So today we're taking a break from talking about GameStop stock and we're going to redirect our attention to another stock that has been capturing my attention recently, which is Nokia. And I know this stock has been getting a lot of attention on Wall Street bets as well. Obviously not as much as GameStop, but believe it or not, I've been paying attention to this stock since before this whole news with GameStop happened. And I was going to make a video on Nokia actually, but it got delayed for obvious reasons until now. But anyways, here we are. And yeah, let's take a closer look at Nokia and let's jump in. So when I say Nokia, probably a lot of you are thinking of the Nokia 3310, which was an absolute icon. I'm sure a lot of you probably know what it looks like, and some of you might even be using it up until this day because those things are absolutely indestructible, right? And that's what most people still associate Nokia with. However, that's not an accurate picture anymore, in my opinion, of what Nokia is because they actually sold off their cell phone business to Microsoft back in 2014, and they haven't been in the cell phone business since then. Now, back then, it was indeed the case that making phones were their bread and butter. However, as I'm sure some of you may remember, you probably even owned a few Nokia devices from time to time. Having your main business decline has certainly caused the stock to plummet. So if you own Nokia shares back then, it was probably pretty painful to see the stock drop from like a 10-time X from what the stock price is now, right, to basically like a few dollars per share. And the stock has been basically doing nothing for like basically 10 years. However, I would say that Nokia these days are a completely different company as they're now focused on telecommunications and 5G technology. In particular, I'm talking about 5G infrastructure. And you'd be surprised by some of the stats that I'm going to read you, okay? So, for example, in 2019, it was estimated that Nokia had about a 23% market share in the 5G infrastructure space in Europe, with Ericsson at 27% and Huawei at 28%. So yes, while Nokia is in third place, they're pretty close to the others, and with the increasing scrutiny on companies like Huawei because they're Chinese and a lot of politicians and a lot of governments think they're a national security threat, I can definitely see Huawei's market share in Europe shrinking over the next few years. I know that some people argue, well, Huawei's technology is better, so they're just getting hit because of sanctions, and that's why Nokia is gaining market share. Well, maybe that's true, maybe not, but winning is winning, right? And quite frankly, I don't really see the European market opening up to Huawei anytime soon, as there are other options that don't pose a security threat in the eyes of the politicians, right? So if I was the regulator, if I was the government making the decision of who to award a 5G contract to, and if I was an official in like a Western European country or Canada or the United States, I'd probably give it to either Nokia or Samsung or Ericsson, one of the others, right? I probably wouldn't give it to Huawei because politically that just wouldn't work. You see what I mean, right? So I can see that Nokia's market share just gaining because of these sanctions. As well, Nokia is leading an effort called hexa-x, which is an initiative to identify what 6G is. So they're already exploring the potentials of what 6G could be. Now, this is really in the early research phase, so as consumers, we really won't see any results from this for years and years to come. However, I really do like how the company is long-term focused, and they're trying to find out what's going to be impactful and what's going to be the next big thing after 5G, instead of just exclusively focusing on what's in front of them and what's happening in the short term in the next like 1 to 2 years, right? So I definitely want to spend some time now to introduce you to the CEO of Nokia as well, a gentleman by the name of Pekka Lundmark, who just joined the company back in September of 2020. And now I always like to look at a CEO's past to see what they did before they joined the company, and Mr. Lundmark came from a company called Fortum, where he was the CEO of Fortum since 2015 until he came to Nokia. And during his time at Fortum, the stock did rise quite noticeably. Of course, we had that huge crash back in March, but since then it's recovered. Now, I looked at what Fortum does, and it's a Finnish company owned by the government, the Finnish government, and it's a company that does energy, right? So it's an infrastructure company, and they have operations in Nordic and Baltic countries, in Poland and Russia and India. So, as an infrastructure company, it really suits Nokia very well, I think, for Mr. Lundmark, because as I mentioned, that Nokia's main business now is 5G infrastructure. So it's nice to have a CEO with a ton of experience in sort of a related field running the company. Now let's take a look at the balance sheet. So from here you can see that they have more cash than short and long-term debt combined. So from a balance sheet perspective, I don't really see any issues. In fact, if they wanted to leverage their balance sheet to get more debt to grow the business faster, they could, right? So they're always they have that option if they wanted to. But yeah, I don't really see any issues with the balance sheet. So the risk of them going bankrupt is minimal, in my opinion. The worst thing that could happen is just that the stock stagnates and it just kind of goes nowhere for years. But I highly doubt it will go to zero unless management really messes up or something like that. So you don't really need to worry about it from a balance sheet perspective. Now, the growth of the company is the part where we need to be slightly more concerned. As the company has posted a negative or flat revenue growth for the near term, and on the flip side, expectations are also very low and they're expected to not grow by that much or be slightly negative. But on the flip side, if they do beat these expectations, though, we can definitely see some nice upside in the stock since expectations are so low and nobody really believes in them at the moment. Now, when you look at a company, you got to always ask yourself, are you betting on the horse or are you betting on the jockey? Meaning, are you betting on the underlying company or are you betting on the management leading the company? Well, preferably, though, you'd like to bet on both. And I think that Nokia has the horse and the jockey going for it. So it's got a pretty good business opportunity ahead of it, right? 5G, huge business opportunity, a relatively strong balance sheet as well, and they got the new CEO with a ton of experience that is leading the company. And you know what this reminds me of, actually? This reminds me of AMD. Now, I'm not saying that Nokia is the next AMD, okay? So don't get me wrong, this could be a completely different situation. I could be completely wrong, but let me just remind you that back then, a lot of people were saying that AMD was a dead company way back in the day, okay? So I know that they're the hottest stock on the market right now, but if you look at a long-term chart of AMD, the stock was a joke back like 6 or 7 years ago. You could have had the stock for like $2 a share, and people said even back then it was a bad buy because everyone had written them off, and now look at AMD. So I don't want you guys to get into the trap of seeing that just because that a stock has done nothing for the past little while. You think, oh, the company is dead. Don't look at the past, right? I want you to look at the future. So with that being said, though, talking about traps, I did kind of fall for one myself. That day that the Nokia stock, that the stock spiked up huge? Well, I was kind of thinking that was going to be the start of the next bull run. So I literally bought in at the highest point possible. I know. Oof. So in my defense, though, I was trying to go for a momentum play as I saw that people on the internet was really starting to talk about Nokia, and Nokia was on the list of Robinhood restricted stocks. So I think that kind of killed a lot of the momentum as well when Robinhood put restrictions on buying Nokia stocks. So, what am I going to do, right? It is what it is. So I was really planning on maybe like swing trading a bit and playing the momentum, but yeah, they went against me. And this is kind of like a hazard whenever you make these type of trades, right? It just didn't work out the way I wanted to, and I got stuck at the absolute top, which really sucks. What can I say, right? Don't listen to me for financial advice. I'm just some guy on YouTube. And I'll be the first one to admit that I'm not the greatest at trading, although I do it from time to time, like just for fun. Anyways, I bought 350 shares and now I'm down almost like 40%, which I know, ouch. But it's okay though. I think long term we are looking at about like a $20 stock if I'm right. And at that point, whether you bought at $4 per share or at $7 per share, you're going to be off really bigly. So yeah, it doesn't really matter either way. It's just either I'm right or I'm wrong, right? If I'm right, then I'm going to make a ton of money still if I just diamond hands it, if I just hold it for a really long time, right? But yeah, if I'm wrong, then the stock is going to go back down to like $3 or $2, and then I'm going to be losing a lot of money. But, it is what it is, right? That's kind of the risk that you have to take. even if you bought at $4, if it goes down to $2, you'd be down 50%, right? So yeah, you just got to think of the risk and reward and the upside. But if it really goes to $20 per share from now on, you're looking at like a 5x opportunity, right? And I think that that is what's in store for us if everything goes right, if you're a Nokia shareholder. I might even average down my position, who knows? So I'll have to see. I'll leave the video here for today. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video and consider subscribing if you like the series. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, links down below in the description as always. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.